The easiest way to not burn out as a video editor is just to balance the social life. We are humans, we're social creatures, and what that means is we can't live in solidarity. There's research to show this, and you can search it up for yourself. Humans aren't meant to live on their own. We're meant to be living in like small groups where we build with each other, we have each other for accountability, we know that we're safe with each other, and when you have that social life, it's so much easier to work. What I've found for myself is when I'm editing, the periods where I had the most growth in my editing career, for context, right now I'm working with the largest creators in the world. I'm working with like the Sidemen and these huge channels, 10, 20, 30 million subscribers, and the periods that I had where I was making the most growth were my most social periods. And I was someone who, as a kid, I was never that social, and I was like your typical, like that whole story of, oh, I was quiet, I never really spoke to anyone. But when I tell you, when people say that they're an introvert, I self-identified as an introvert. I was as introverted as they got. I remember when I would be at like family functions, you know, when there's all your family, cousins and everything come to one person's house. I would be the kid in like the corner of the living room playing Clash of Clans on my mum's phone, and when people would come up to me, I wouldn't speak to them, and I'd be so awkward when my auntie would be asking me questions about, oh, how's school? And I'd be like, it's all right. Like, I was as introverted as they got. And from there, I've gotten now to the point where it is completely within character for me to go up to a random person in a cafe when I'm going on the train or when I'm going to some event. I'll be able to speak to pretty much anyone there. I've literally had messages. In fact, I literally just came back from London. Did like a 2-day trip just for fun, and I had like a group of 8 guys around me. And this sounds cringe, but I was sort of like, I took more of like the leadership role. I found now I tend to take more of leadership roles in groups. And straight after this meeting, like when we all got together and we all went back home, these guys flew in to get together. One of the guys, his name's Omar, he messaged me a really heartfelt message. Honestly, this actually meant a lot to me. In fact, I'll bring it up now. My phone's just here. He was talking to me about how much it was just a really nice message. I'll read it now. Hey bro, it's Omar. I just wanted to say that I learned a lot from you last night. It's so inspiring to see someone the same age as me killing it in business. The way you conveyed yourself was immaculate. The body language, well-mannered, well-spoken, confident, generous, skills of leadership. It's amazing to see, man. Cheers bro, mashallah, and inshallah we'll meet again. Essentially, I had these guys who were almost like under my wing, and I've become like that confident, charismatic, and someone can call this ego, but I've improved a lot when it comes to social skills. And I'll say it out loud because, bro, I'm fucking proud of myself. The reason I was able to do that, and I'm going to drop you the secret now, it was just one book. It's called How to Influence and Influence People. I've got it here. This one book has changed my life. And the reason is when you're able to speak to people, you think that your social skills are okay right now, that you'd be able to speak to someone if you can. But truth be told, you haven't put in active effort into improving your social skills. Be honest. How many like direct hours have you put into like genuinely improving your skill as a socializer? You've put in work into you learning Premiere Pro. You've put in work into you learning animations, into like sound design, into you learning like all these things. So you got better at Premiere Pro when you started practicing Premiere Pro. But you think that your social skills are decent, but how many hours have you genuinely put in to you improving your social skills? It was when I started thinking like this, and I was like, wait, I tell myself that I have like decent social skills, and it's like, oh, actually, it's not that I have bad social skills. It's just that I don't need to speak to people. I'm grinding. That's what it is. But if you were in front of another person right now, if you were in a cafe and you saw someone that you wanted to speak to, would you genuinely have the confidence to speak to them? Or is it more likely that there's usually like some girl that you want to speak to, or even if it's a guy that you think is doing something interesting, but your brain's telling you that you want to speak to him, but you can't get your body to comply. So it's not that your social skills are good, because otherwise you would have been that charismatic guy that goes around like the social butterfly, and you're not. And that's okay, it's not your fault. But first, we need to kind of have the humility to say that, okay, maybe my social skills aren't perfect right now. the reason that it helps so much is, first of all, you have the whole burnout thing, which is like when you're social and you've had a day where you feel amazing around these guys that you have respect for, and you have girls that like you have like a nice dynamic with. You go home that day with so much like zest, so much more like happiness. You're editing your videos, and it's like you're not having like neurotic thoughts, like these weird thoughts of like, oh, I wish I could go outside. Oh, should I message my friends? I wonder what my friends group chat is saying right now. If you find yourself getting distracted during your editing sessions, a lot of it is probably like you getting bored because you would rather be out with be out right now, be out with more friends, find out about new people. You would rather be doing that instead of work. But when you know that your social life has been fulfilled, when you know that, okay, every single day at this time, I do this certain thing with this group of guys that I respect, you go home that day like fulfilled. You don't have these feelings of, I would rather be socializing, because you've done that for the day. So you become more productive and you don't burn out, because once again, we're social creatures. So I want to talk about how to actually get to that point, because I've gone through that like sort of transformation myself, where I've gone from like the guy that can barely speak to anyone to now, even yesterday, like there was this random girl where I met her, and it was like I was coming back on train from London, so I live in a town nearby, and like I just striked up conversation with her. Like we had a really nice dynamic. She was a really good girl as well. Like she was really well mannered. She lives in France, but she was coming to my town to meet family, and it's like she's here for a week, we're going to meet and things like that. And it's like this person was just a stranger. I've gotten to a point where I can turn a stranger into genuinely a friend, or like someone that I can actually talk to like that. And honestly, it took a lot of active effort. A lot of people try becoming more social. They say that they're going to start fixing their social life, but you got to realize that it's called social skills for a reason. People try improving their social skills, and they say their social skills aren't good because they have this thing, or there's a reason, like my social skills aren't good, and it's like that's just how I am. But it's a skill. Just like you learning editing, you trying to make more money editing, that's a skill you can have, right? You can improve the skill of your workflow, you can improve the skill of your animations, skill of sound design, skill of communication, negotiations. These are all skills you're learning in editing. Social skills and your ability to speak to people randomly is a skill. So now how do we train that? Just like how you would spend more hours in Premiere, more hours in your editing software in order to get better at that skill, you getting in more conversations is the way that you get better social skills. I find it so silly how people will say, and this was me included before I started actively focusing on this, I would say that I can't speak to people because my social skills are bad. But what you don't realize is the way you get better social skills is by speaking to people. It's not like you improve and then you start doing it. You do it and then that is how you improve. It's like if you were trying to get bigger in the gym, you wouldn't say that, oh, I'm going to start going to the gym, but I'm not big enough yet. What would we say to that guy? We'd call him an idiot, right? Like, the way you get bigger is by going to the gym. You don't become bigger and then start going. Like, you go when you're skinny. So when you're trying to improve your social skills, you don't start socializing when you have good social skills. You start trying to speak to people when your social skills are still shit. And that is how you improve. And after 50, 100, 200, 300 conversations, then suddenly you're able to speak with so much more conviction. You're able to make people feel loved. You're able to kind of be like that social funny guy. And it's a good feeling, I'll be honest. Knowing that no matter who you talk to, no matter who you see, you know you can strike up conversation and leave that conversation with them liking you and you liking them, and you go home like fucking happy. It's a good skill to have. So now, autistically detailed steps. A huge reason why your social skills are shit right now is because you're not giving yourself opportunities to actually improve them. With all due respect, you sit in your room all day. You say you're grinding. You say that you're on like this fucking monk mode thing. You're editing all day. And sure, you are getting work done, but you don't realize that if you just set an hour, 2 hours to socialize, like, this sounds weird, but you being out of the house and you being around people is actually productive. Like, you keep telling yourself that you don't have time for these things, but what people don't realize is by having this social life, you actually improve your editing as well, because now you're not going to get burnt out, you're more motivated, all of these things. So being out in social life, in a social setting, is actually productive. So don't cope and say that you don't have time for it. You do have time for it. If anything, you make time for it. It's not like you just accidentally start socializing. What you're going to do is you're going to either go with friends, you're going to be the initiator. What this means is you message people that you're going to set something up. This beautiful analogy that genuinely changed my life. Let me tell you it. Every single person, well, let's talk about you first. You would love for someone to come up to you and basically ask you to do something. You would love it if someone that you knew said, hey, we're going to go to a restaurant at this time, do you want to come? Or, hey, we're going to go to the park and just like do a workout, or we're going to play football and do you want to come? You would fucking love it if someone did that to you, right? So you would love for like some cool guy, like the guy that you respect, to do that to you. Every single person in like society pretty much feels the exact same way. Everyone wants like that cool guy, the social butterfly, the like respected guy to come around and just like ask them to join them. So why don't you become that person who invites people to the fun? So what you're going to do is essentially, this is like actual steps. You're going to set up an activity that you're going to do anyways. So you're going to be hitting a workout, you're going to be going to the shopping center, you're going to be going to this cafe to work, you're going to be doing whatever. You need to set a task that, or like an activity that you're doing on your own. And what's important is you need to genuinely be doing this, whether you're doing it with people or by yourself. You need to like live an interesting life. If you're not doing interesting things with your day, if your daily like timetable is basically, I wake up, I go to school, I maybe go to the gym for half an hour, and then I edit for the rest of the day, and it's like I don't leave the house, you don't have an interesting life. You don't have, this is disrespectful, I'm sorry bro, but like nobody wants to join your life. So you need to be doing interesting things, like, and that doesn't mean you need to do expensive things. Go to a cafe, go like to the shopping mall, even if it's just to like go window shopping. Bro, do something interesting with your day. And then when you go about conversations, which I'll teach you now, when you go about conversations throughout your day, like with random people or maybe people you don't know that well, you're going to find ways to slip in like an invitation for them to join you. You're going to be starting small talk. You're going to be kind of, I'll get into the steps now. The way you start talking to random people, you give them a compliment or you talk about something in the environment. So you'll see someone ordering at a cafe. So you're going to go to a cafe and you're waiting in line. There's going to be like a girl in front of you. You're just going to, first you need to make eye contact. So you're going to keep your head up. Don't start looking down. Don't be on your phone. Put your phone away. Like, keep your phone either in your bag or in your pocket. Don't look at it. You're going to sit in that discomfort of like that awkward eye contact. When you accidentally make eye contact, you smile. When she smiles back, or even if it's like she just holds eye contact for like half a second, then you ask, oh, what are you ordering, by the way? I'm confused. You just ask a brain-dead question. Or you say like, oh, I like your glasses. That's the one I used yesterday. It's like, you just comment something. You just open your mouth. The truth is, this is genuinely the hardest part. It's like, as soon as you open your mouth and say one thing, that is the hardest part done. The problem is, you have all these thoughts. You keep thinking that, oh, that person's dress is quite nice. His jacket looks kind of cool. I wonder where his shoes are from. You have these thoughts anyways. You genuinely, be honest with yourself. You go about life and sometimes you see interesting people, or you see someone that's really good looking, and it's like, you don't say anything. All I'm telling you to do is the thoughts that you're already having in your head. When you think someone's pretty, or when you think that a guy like is like huge, like he has like big arms or something, you're thinking the thoughts anyways. Just say it out loud. That's literally all this is, because you're already generating the thoughts. Now, what's going to be going through your head is essentially fear. You're going to be scared, what if this person doesn't receive it well? What if they like snap back at me? What if she thinks I'm a creep? You got to realize that honestly, most people are genuinely nice people. Like, if someone came up to you and randomly said, yo bro, that shirt like is really nice, or that like those trousers really like fit well, like it just like the aura that you give off when you're wearing this outfit looks really nice. If a stranger came up to you and said that, Genuinely, what would be your thought process? You wouldn't be thinking like, oh, I'm gonna swear at this guy, I'm gonna call this guy a creep. You'd be like, oh, appreciate that, bro. Like, oh yeah, I got these trousers from this place. Like, yeah, appreciate that. Like, I'm really glad you noticed. So every single other person, I promise, would have the exact same reaction. Remember, you're not special. Most people in society genuinely think the same way. If you would be happy for someone to compliment you, this person isn't going to call you a creep if you just ask them, like, if you just ask them, oh, like, I like your sunglasses, where did you get them from? Nobody's going to think you're a weirdo. But the longer that you wait, the longer that you think in your head, oh, this person's trousers are nice, but you don't say it out loud, the harder it's going to become. And you've probably had this when, like, there's a girl that you kind of like, and it's like, not even like in terms of like, you've known them for a while, but you've just seen them on first hand and you think they're pretty. And then you tell yourself that you want to say something, but you don't, because you're scared. Like, first it's just uncomfortable, then it's like, oh, you're scared she's going to think you're weirder, then it's like, oh, we've already made eye contact, like awkward eye contact a few times, we've looked at each other and I looked away too quickly, and it's been like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and it's like, you know what, if she comes this way, I'll talk to her, and she never does, and an hour passes, she's left the place right now, and now you're never going to speak to her. And then you start coping, saying that, oh, it's because I'm focusing on this thing, and oh, anyways, I'm grinding. It's like, yeah, stop coping. The longer you wait, the harder the social interaction becomes. So what you need to do is say the compliment or say the initial question that you have before you're actually ready. The second you have the thought, you just blurt it out loud, almost like you have like ADHD. You know how people with like ADHD, they kind of just like say like whatever's on their head. They'll be in a conversation, and if they have a thought, they'll basically just say it out loud. And of course, don't do this mid-conversation. If someone's already talking and like they're in the flow of a sentence, don't interrupt them. But if you're both just like silent, or if you're like standing near someone and you have the thought, just say it out loud. So literally what I'll do is sometimes if they're facing towards me and like, let's say we're both looking, like she's looking down on her phone, I'm kind of just like awkwardly, because I don't go on my phone in public, because that's horrible if you want to improve your social skills. I will literally just like wave my hand in front of them and be like, excuse me. I appreciate this is really random, but like your glasses, I really like them. Where did you get them from? Now this person might have had their headphones in and you told yourself that, oh, I can't talk to them because they had their headphones in, I don't want to disturb them. Most people, if they hear that, they'll take their headphones off and they'll be like, oh yeah, this is where I got it from. And then you'll ask them like, oh yeah, like, do you normally wear sunglasses? Is that like your sort of style? What are you into? Like, what sort of fashion do you follow? And it's like, you just start small talk, and if you're genuinely interested in this person, genuinely ask questions, they'll actually like you. Like, when it comes down to it, you realize this sounds stupid, but having friends and turning like a stranger into someone you're in a conversation with isn't that hard. Technically, you're just talking to them. You're just asking questions. Allow your curiosity to flow. If they just said that, oh yeah, I got these glasses from Thailand, and you ask them like, oh, you've been Thailand, like, what do you think about it? I'm thinking of going. You probably weren't even thinking of going Thailand, bro, but like, just kind of play into the conversation, genuinely be interested, and when they tell you about how they're considering moving there, and you're like, oh, what, like, short term, long term, like, are you trying to have family there, or like, are you, like, you just ask these questions, and you essentially just let them say what's in their brain. When you can give people this opportunity to speak about themselves, you become such a lovable person. We live in a society now where genuinely everyone's so sort of like so focused, everyone's sort of in their own head. They're not even selfish, but they're scared to go around and talk to people. Just like, honestly, you're scared to talk to people sometimes. And that's why so many of us, we just go on our phones if there's a 5-second silence within a conversation, or if we're in a cafe with our friends or in a cafeteria with our friends and our friend needs to go to the toilet and we're on our own, the first thing we do is pick up our phone. Why? Because we're all just in solitude now. So when you're able to be that person who can give like that sense of life to someone else, imagine that when you're sitting with your friend and your friend went to a bathroom and you're just chilling like bored, and some stranger came up to you and striked up a conversation. He made you feel appreciated. He delved into like your interests. Imagine he came up to you and asked like, oh, what do you do for work? Oh yeah, I edit. Oh, tell me about editing. Like, how did you get into it? Imagine this random guy just started asking you questions about your work. You would love it, right? So you essentially just need to go do that for other people. Don't start ranting on about your own editing. Don't start ranting on about what you like are immediately passionate about. And this sounds harsh because it's like, oh, but why can't I talk about my interests? You can talk about your interests, but it serves you a lot better in order for you to like kind of show interest first. You need to be the one that delves into their interest, and then you'll find maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes into the conversation, they'll start asking questions about you. But you need to be interested first for people to be interested about you. Because they've had every single person in their life right now has come up to them and been like, oh, I have this thing. Like, I'm interested in football. I'm interested in like this fashion. I'm interested in this music. And the person doesn't even care. So it's like they're ranting to them and they're used to just blocking out information. But when you're the first person, maybe in the last 4, 5, 6 months, that has come up to them and asked them questions about their passions and their hobbies, they're just going to start speaking to you, and they form that bond, that connection. So that's how you start conversations with people. You literally just say the first thing in your head, and more importantly, you need to do it before you're ready. And what's extremely important about this is you need to be getting outside of the house. Like I said, most editors, including myself, I was locked into my room. I wouldn't go out with my friends. I would cancel so often. I wouldn't do social things. And this sounds really weird and like it's kind of sad, but you'll probably relate to this. Even with my family, I'll keep it so raw. Like when I was grinding, when I was like improving a lot as an editor, not even improving a lot, but I was in my early stages of my career, like the first 1, 2 years, there would be days where I just wouldn't speak to my family. Not because I hated them or I resented them, but genuinely I was just in my room working all day. I would wake up, brush my teeth. In fact, honestly, I didn't even brush my teeth some mornings. It was fucked. Like I can say that with, because it was in the past, I'll say it. Like I literally woke up, and it sounds disgusting, but I'll wake up, I'll sit at my desk, I'll work, I wouldn't even eat. I'll maybe have I'll be working so long that I wouldn't even eat for a lot of days. Like for like a whole day, I'll forget to eat. I wouldn't see my family, and at the end of the day, it's like, that's basically my whole day. I'll maybe just eat like some random food and then go back to bed. I'll brush my teeth somewhere in there. Don't worry, I do brush my teeth at one point. It felt like shit. Genuinely, it felt like shit. And if you're living a life like that, is it any wonder that you're not meeting interesting people? In order for you to be able to socialize with people, the first thing is get outside the house. Go do interesting things. Go to a park and literally go for a walk. Go to a cafe and just sit down with a coffee and like randomly talk to someone and then strike up a conversation. Go to a public library. In your school, instead of like chilling with the same 1 or 2 friends that you always chill with, go to like a study center. Go to the school library and it's like, obviously don't like be loud and shit. I was loud, but like if you're sitting next to someone and you just see on their screen that they're doing psychology, like some psychology work, and you see like this like psychologist's name, and you're like, oh wait, I recognize that name. Excuse me, like, are you doing psychology? Yeah. Can you tell, like, what are you researching right now? It seems really interesting. You just genuinely be interested in other people, and you go outside, you see people that you're interested in, you make a comment on it, and then you go from there. You just ask leading questions. It's so sad how long this took me to learn, but the truth is, this is why I believe that I've gotten to the point that I am now. A lot of people in my life ask me how I work a lot harder than them. Like, I work a lot harder than the average person. And honestly, it doesn't even feel hard to me. I genuinely enjoy the idea of work. I would say working in terms of like working on something since I was like probably 15 years old. 15 years old was when I made my Fortnite channel. Some of you might know it. This is like some Sayeef lore, some Malice lore, boys. If you search up Illuminati Gaming, that was my first ever Fortnite channel. It was 4 years ago, and I'm making like my own montages. I posted about 150 videos on there, and that was for basically 2 years. Then I got into editing, and for about a year and a half, I'm doing Fortnite montages. Then after that, I'm doing content, and it's like I've basically been working for like 4 or 5 years now. I don't take breaks. I've never had to be like, oh, I'm gonna take a weekend off. I'm burnt out. I need to stop working for a week. And I had a friend who called this bad. Like he's an editor and we're still good friends. He looked at me and he said, That's not healthy. But the truth is, if you're about to take a break, and this isn't like conventional advice, but if you're going to take a week, 2 week, a month break of editing, the world is still spinning. Everyone else is still working. Everyone else is still getting clients. The clients that you drop, someone else is taking them on. It's not like you can just say, "Oh, can we just start working together again?" The world continues spinning. Nobody cares that you're burnt out. Nobody cares that you want work-life balance. Nobody cares that you're struggling to have a social life. The world will keep working. Other editors will take the clients you want. Other editors will improve their animations. Other editors will be getting better, and in a month, when you're the same version of yourself that you were a month ago, and if anything, you've probably degraded because you've kind of lost the muscle memory, you've lost what you've got, like all the skills that you had. You're at a disadvantage. And editing, just like any business, it's a competitive scene, and you don't have a week, 2 weeks just to throw away. This isn't me saying that your mental health and you burning out isn't a real thing, but it's important that you take care of it. And social life is one of the easiest ways to not burn out. So your actionable step, this is something that if you've listened to this, I want you to actually get value out of it. If you just go ahead with this, you've probably been told advice like this before, right? You've probably been told like, yeah, social life is important. Yet you're still watching a video. In fact, you've watched this whole video, and the reason you've watched it is because your social life still hasn't improved. And the reason is you don't take action. I want you to comment under this video, and this isn't even for YouTube algorithm and stuff, but I want you to do it for accountability. I want you to comment under this and say exactly how you're going to implement this advice. Tell me, which place are you going to go? Are you going to go to a cafe, a library? In school, are you going to do it in the library? Are you going to go to your local grocery? Like, stop coping and saying that you have nothing around you. Find something. You can literally go walking down your street and just wait to find a person that you find interesting. But write down a comment of where you're going to go within the next 24 hours, preferably today, because if you tell yourself tomorrow, you're going to bitch out. So do it today if you can. Write down where you're going to go, and just say you're going to do it. Say, I'm going to go to this place and talk to one person. I'm going to go to a cafe tonight, straight after watching this video, or like, I'm literally just going to do it tonight. I'm going to go to a cafe and compliment one person, or I'm just going to ask them what coffee they're getting. I'm going to go in tomorrow in school. I am going to sit in the library next to someone that I find pretty, and I'm going to ask them what they're studying. If you don't give yourself the actionable step, you're going to keep watching videos like these. You're going to watch like these self-improvement type videos, and you're just not going to make progress. I want you to make progress in this, bro. I'm doing this out of love for you. So comment now. I don't give a fuck about YouTube algorithm. These videos aren't even like highly edited or anything, so it's not about retention or like algorithm stuff. I'm doing it for your sake. Comment it now. And yeah, hope you found value in this. Do the YouTube shit, I guess. Love you, man. Mwah.